Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back to the video today, and Georgia beats Ohio State in the college football semi-final Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and what a game this was! Two amazing games between Michigan and TCU, and Georgia, Ohio State, as Georgia beats Ohio State 42-41. What a comeback for Georgia! Outscored Ohio State in the fourth quarter 18-3. And just what a performance by Georgia. When it looked like they were not going to win this game, Georgia showed the country that they are the best team in the country. And, I feel so bad for Ohio State because they played such a hard game tonight, and they really played amazing, and it just sucked that their final drive just was not good enough. Went out for a 50-yard field goal, missed it, just left, and Georgia was sent to the national championship. What a comeback by Georgia, though. Let's go over the scoring summary. Ohio State would score the first. Not their first possession, but Ohio State would score on their first drive on a 4-play, 71-yard drive. C.J. Stroud would throw a touchdown pass to Marvin Harrison Jr. to make it 7-0. Then Georgia would put their first points on the board with 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the first quarter. Stetson's Bennett would throw a touchdown pass to Kenny. I'm not going to try to say his last name. For a 25-yard touchdown pass to tie it up at 7. Then Ohio State would regain the lead, and Mayan Williams would run it up from 2 yards, and they would make the extra point and make it 14-7. Then C.J. Stroud, again with 10 minutes to go in the second quarter, would throw a touchdown pass from 16 yards to Marvin Harrison Jr. He gets his second touchdown of the game, and they take the lead 21-7. Then Georgia scores another touchdown, a Kendall Milton 11-yard touchdown run to make it 21-14. Then Stetson's Bennett would run it up for a 3-yard touchdown run and make it. Then it would be tied up at 24. Tied up at 21. Then with 1 minute and 44 seconds to go until halftime, Georgia would take their first lead of the game and knock in a 32-yard field goal and make it 24-21. But they would not go into halftime leading it as C.J. Stroud would throw a 37-yard touchdown pass to Xavier Johnson to make it 28-24. Three passing touchdowns thrown by C.J. Stroud in the first half. They only scored 13 points in the second half, and 2 field goals, only 1 touchdown in the second half, and that was a touchdown pass too. And let's get to that touchdown pass. Is in their first drive. Ohio State would C.J. Stroud would throw a 10-yard touchdown pass to Mecca Gabuka. I think probably didn't say that right, but and then Noah Ruggles would make a extra point to make it 35-24. Then with 31 seconds going into the fourth quarter, with 31 seconds left in the third quarter, Noah Ruggles would make a 25-yard field goal. Then Ohio State would have a 14-point lead. Then Georgia would knock in a 31-yard field goal, cut the deficit to 11, 38-27. They would score a touchdown. Aaron Smith, 76-yard touchdown pass from Stetson Bennett. Then they would add the 2-point conversion plus that to make it 35-38. Alad McConkey for a 2-point conversion to make it 38-35. Ohio State would drive down the field because when Georgia scored the touchdown and got the 2-point conversion, there was 8 minutes and 41 seconds left. Georgia ran the clock all the way down to 2:43. Noah Ruggles made a 48-yard field goal, and Georgia would have themselves a chance to take the lead 41-35. Then Georgia would then get the ball back and make some quick plays, 5-play, 72-yard, 1 minute, 45-9-second drive, and it's a touchdown for Georgia. They take the lead 42-41. That was your final score. But then Ohio State drives, a big C.J. Stroud run, a big pass to a wide receiver. I don't know who the wide receiver was. A couple big plays, and And then what happens next is Ohio State sets up for a 50-yard field goal, and it is no good. Oh, and Georgia's going to the national championship. Okay, let's get to the game leaders. C.J. Stroud was 23 for 34, 348 passing yards, and 4 touchdown passes. Cessus Bennett was 23 for 34 with 398 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception thrown. Rushing yards, Hayden for Ohio State had 9 carries and 43 yards. The lead rusher for Georgia was I'm not gonna try to say his last name. 5 carries. I'm not gonna try to say his name at all because I don't. It says KM. Let's call him KM. Had 5 carries and 70 yards. And then leading receiving for Ohio State was Emeka Egbuka with 8 receptions, 112 yards, and 1 touchdown. For Georgia, it was Aaron Smith with three receptions, 129 yards, and 1 touchdown. Had a big touchdown in the fourth quarter. Let's see the rest of the box score here. Kendall Milton had 3 carries, 26 yards, and 1 touchdown for Georgia. Cessus Bennett had 1 rushing touchdown for Georgia, but minus 18 yards because probably had a lot of sacks. Brock Bowers for Georgia had 4 receptions and 64 yards. His name was Kenny McIntosh. Oh, Kenny McIntosh. Oh, I know him now. Kenny McIntosh, Kenny McIntosh for Georgia, had 5 receptions, 56 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then Adonai Mitchell had 3 receptions, 43 yards, 1 touchdown. For Ohio State, Marvin Harrison Jr. had a great game, 5 receptions, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was probably the better wide receiver in this one. Just Emeka Egbuka had 6 more yards, but had 3 more receptions, and Harrison Jr. had 1 more touchdown. Xavier Johnson had 3 receptions, 43 yards, and 1 touchdown. And that's really it for your stats and your yards and all that stuff. So what a game! If I'm Ohio State, I'm glad I competed, but besides that, I'm disappointed that I lost this game. What a game by C.J. Stroud! I'm so excited. I think that this is, as a Texans fan, this was so hard for me because now I don't know what to do after the performance C.J. Stroud had tonight. I'm seriously thinking, what should the Texans do as a Texans fan? Should we draft Bryce Young or should we draft C.J. Stroud after this performance? I was seriously thinking, I wanted to see C.J. Stroud go to the national championship because I was like, if he goes to the national championship and they win, we might draft C.J. Stroud. So I think that does this game kind of affect C.J. Stroud? Could the Texans be going after him now? I don't know. I think it's probably not because Bryce Young had a really talented game night, but I don't know. I think it's going to be really hard as a Texans fan and for the Texans front office. But what a game this was! What about 2 great games we had between Michigan and TCU and Ohio State and Georgia. Man, 2 incredible games. That's it for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the game, and peace out. Let me know your thoughts.